Hello, welcome back to Greenhill Junction. This video is going to be a continuation of the redesign of the bridge end of the layout. But we've also got a new addition to the trains, and I'll show you that later on. And I'll ask you for some advice because there's one wee thing up with it which is annoying me and I can't quite figure out how to fix it, so it'd be great to see if any of you folks can help me out with that. So the last video was well, the big redesign, where I pretty much changed everything from there all the way around to there, and reconfigured the 6 tracks and the layout of the bridges. And I thought I was done, but I had been thinking about other things to do, and a couple of comments got me thinking more. Thanks very much for all your comments. The video is really popular. I enjoy reading them all. The two that got me thinking were, someone said now that I've got a slightly larger layout, would they be running more trains with like 4 carriages instead of 3 carriages? And the main problem with that was that I didn't have storage for 4 carriage trains. I've always had the 3, I think, so that one, and that one. But only I've had 2 sidings where I store them, so one of them always had to run. And another comment said that I think he meant that the running trains were passing too close to the parked trains, and it wasn't realistic. I'm not going for realism, I'm going for what looks good in this space and what I enjoy looking at. But I took the point on, and I think probably one of the issues was I had a 4 carriage train in there. In fact, it was that one was in there, and my 9F is on that wagon train, but that's not going to change. The 9F fits in there. Yeah, the train passes it close, but you know what, it works. I'm not bothered, and it gives me a parking space for the 9F. So I thought, well, if I redesign this kind of area, I can run more 4 carriage trains, and also it solves another problem in that I have too many trains for the layout, as most modelers do, and I didn't have enough parking spaces, or you can tell I drive a lot sidings. So basically I always had a train parked on the top end of the incline, and I always had a train parked at the bottom end of the incline in the station, which didn't look too bad because it is the station. So I was like, well, if I can get more space for 4 carriage trains, I can then take away an LNER train, these teak carriages, and give Mallard 4. And then I've given, what's that one called? Woodcock. I've given Woodcock 4 as well. And then I've just got a spare brake coach there. And Flying Scotsman has been relegated into the shed, but then it can come out and just take, you know, one of the 4 carriage trains off the other loco. Making it sound like it's human here. Anyway, so to do that, I would have to change these sidings. And seeing as I've gained about a foot up that end, what I decided to do was just extend the sidings. And I've jumped away ahead because I got kind of in the moment and went for it and thought, well, probably should video this. So the old sidings ended at that line, just where that one is just now. So I've only extended these 2 so far. This first one was always just like a loco park, so you could get 2 locos in there, and it left enough space for a loco to come out the shed, get through the system of points, sit there, and then go onto the main lines, or pick up trains and go into the main lines. So I have extended that to take a 3 coach train, because I don't want it all the way up to the bridges. I want some sort of scenery in that gap there. And even the biggest loco can come out there, points can get changed, and it goes off. I've extended this. This used to only take a 3 coach train. So I have extended this all the way up, so it now takes probably a 4.5 coach train. But I am thinking about possibly stepping these sidings, so having one there, because that 4 now fits in nicely if it just ends there. And then maybe just bringing that up a wee bit, because that takes a 4, but it gets a wee bit tight in here. And I think maybe stepping them would look quite good. The other thing I've done is, take you around here, this empty siding used to come along and follow that cork into that point, but I decided I'm going to straighten it up and just bring it along here somewhere. So that could take a 4, or even take a 4 and 2 locos, so one this end, one that end, and that way it can just run either way depending on what I fancy. This side in here may be one of the ones that was referred to as being too close to the running lines. So what I'm going to do is, you can see it's a little bit too small for a 4 carriage train. So I'm going to take it out of that point, and I'll just bring it out a little bit and then run it into that point, and that point will go. So that'll then easily be a 4 carriage train. So I've now got space for parking for 1, 2, 3, 4 carriage trains, which will increase the functionality of the layout, shall we say. So that's what I've been cracking on with, and well, I'm kind of halfway through already, so I'll get on with the rest, see what it looks like once the track's been reconfigured. And then the final thing I'll do is I'll show you the new addition, which I think is a very, very nice new addition, and I'll show you the problem when it's running, and hopefully get your advice on how to fix it. So back in a bit. Okay, welcome back. That is the redesign of the sidings all done. Didn't take nearly as long as anything else. Really was just a case of sorting out lengths, a wee bit of disconnecting and reconnecting, but I have got the sidings in, they're nice and straight. The reason there's not such a big gap between these three is because I'm kind of planning on having some walkways in between those two, maybe. So these have been, well, these were always closer together. You're probably just the first time you're seeing it, because I've never really shown this bit of the fiddle yard in such detail. But I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 carriage trains in now, which has freed up the entire line, or all the lines. Don't mind that one sitting there because it's in the station, but now that's the only thing that's in the way of the incline. If I take you down here, I did decide to step it just because I quite liked how that looked. And with my slight OCD, it's 17 centimetres from the end of each buffer stop to the next buffer stop, so it was even, because I couldn't handle it if it wasn't even, to be perfectly honest. And I quite like that. It's just, it makes it look a bit different rather than just like 4 sidings all ending in the same place. And it's also given me more of an area here to maybe do a yard scene or something like that, or even just have it coming across there and then have a nice sort of green scene around here. But I've got plenty of space to play with now for some scenery. I'll take you around and give you this view. So you can see this siding here has moved a little bit away from the main line, and that point is completely gone, and there's just a new bit of track in there. And this siding's now just going into what was that, well, that is a brand new medium radius left hand point that was put in the previous video. So loads of space now for that 4 carriage train, space for the other trains to go by. But yeah, it's all worked out really well. Inevitably, someone may ask, why don't I run a 5 carriage train? Reason for that is I have done for a while, and despite this layout looking quite big, well, I suppose you can see there's a 4 carriage train in the middle of the layout, and then if you come back here to those tunnels, you've maybe got room for another 2, maybe 2 and a bit carriages. And to be honest, a 5 car carriage just didn't look right. It was coming out of tunnels, and by the time the whole train was out, the front of the train was starting to disappear, so it just didn't look good. So I'm afraid 4 carriage trains is the biggest that I'll be running here. So let me know what you think of the changes I've made there. And what we'll do now is we'll bring in the new addition and have a real close look at it. I'll show you it running and the problem I've got with it, and then we'll just wind this up. Alright, so Back in a bit with the new edition. Okay, welcome back, and this is the new addition to the layout. It's the Hornby Rare Bird with the A4 Kingfisher in BR Blue and 3 coaches. R2906 is the catalogue number. Been after this for ages. It usually holds quite a high price, but I saw it recently for a very, very good price. This didn't have the certificate with it or the print. I'm really not fussed about that. I wanted the train. So that's probably why it was at a good price. But you know what? 2 bits of paper are just going to stay in the box. Fine. I'll take the train for a really good price. And here it is on the layout. I absolutely love the livery. It looks really, really good on the A4. One of my other favourite A4s is the green LNER one with the white stripes. And this looks just as good. And it's a very detailed model as well, in my opinion. You can see the detail on the footplate. The livery is very nicely done. So loads of little moulded details here. Lots of rivet detail as well. If I can take you in close enough and get it to focus. Also got the handrail around the front. You've got the hanging coupling. The running number looks really, really good. It does have sprung buffers if you ever need sprung buffers. But if you've seen my other videos, you know my opinion on that. Nice bit round the glazing as well. I mean, everything is really, really well done. The cab is actually one of the best, certainly for details. So apart from all the sort of, I presume, separately fitted handrails, nice bit of glazing, got cab doors, you've got a footplate, and the cab is very detailed, but you can't see it. And this is you can see it a little bit there now, I've focused on it. You know, this is my thing about the clamour for cab detail. You can't see it. I'd rather have a flickering firebox because then you can actually see that, but you can't see any of that painted detail no matter what angle you look at it. When it's stationary on the layout, never mind when it's running. The vents, come on, focus. The vents move. To be honest, I very rarely move them, just because they feel so flimsy. And I mean, it's in very good condition. It was sold as immaculate condition. I wouldn't say it was that. I had to clean it up, I had to oil it, and I'll show you. There's a small issue with it running, but I'll show you that in a sec. One bit I was particularly impressed by were the carriages. These are very detailed compared to your sort of standard Hornby carriages. They even come with sprung buffers, which is the first time I've ever seen that. You can see the separately fitted detail on the end of the carriage there. There's these wee foot plates here, I'm guessing they are. A couple of them were broken off and I had to glue them back on, but I've not seen that in the carriages before. And they just look a bit more special, these coaches, than your sort of standard Hornby ones. There's loads of little details, particularly on the ends. In the roofs, there's a kind of grab bar there as well. So it came with 3 of these. These were, apart from the 2 broken bits, these were in good condition. So I got all that for £175, which is a lot of money, but I'd never seen it priced that low. And it's DCC ready, so it's got a DCC chip in it. And what I'll do now is I'll set it off around the layout so you can see the problem with it, and hopefully you can suggest a fix for me. So back in a minute. Right, so here's Kingfisher running round. You don't notice it too much in the corners, but wait until it gets on the straight. It basically wiggles its bum all the time. There's something oscillating in it. I'll see it when it comes to the station. Yeah, you can see it there. Wiggles away. I mean, it runs absolutely fine apart from that. If I just bring it to a halt, I'll show you what I think might be the problem and how I've tried to fix it. So, what I think the problem is the middle set of the driving wheels. Now, on all models, the wheels move, probably better show you this from above. So on all models, the wheels move left and right, shall we say, to help it negotiate curves. Now, I have Falcon somewhere as well. Falcon, where is it? Falcon's down here. Now this is pretty much exactly the same model as Kingfisher. It looks identical, obviously apart from the livery. So I presume it was produced around about the same time. Now what I've noticed on Kingfisher is these middle wheels, they not only go left and right, but they also oscillate like that, which I can only assume is causing it to essentially wiggle its bum. Now I've had this on the local service cradle thingy that I've got, had it upside down, taken the base plate off, the underneath, and that lets you into another plate, and you can lift up either end of that and you can see these two axles, and they've got like the brass bearings on them, but it's wired in. The plate appears to be wired in at the middle axle, so I can't get the plate off. I can't really get access to that. So any suggestions? I haven't taken the body off yet because it's one of these A4s. It's a complete pain in the backside to do that. There's like an acceleration control rod that's basically connected between the body and the driving gear, and there's something else. So basically the body's connected to the driving gear in two places with tiny little bolts, or whatever you want to call these. And I could get it off with a set of pliers, but I'd probably make a mess. And to be fair, I did that to Falcon, and I actually broke the accelerating cable thingy off and just didn't bother putting it back on because nobody really notices. So you got any suggestions as to how to fix this that doesn't involve me taking it to bits, because I'm not the best at that, then give me your comments. Give me your comments on how you think to fix this. I've got a model shop locally that does repairs, so if I can take it down to him and say, look, this is what I think's wrong with it, and he can then take it apart and fix it, then great, I'll happily pay for that just to stop it wiggling about. But like I say, apart from that, it is a fantastic runner, and I think the train looks really, really good going around the layout. So what we'll do is we'll just finish this off with some shots of Kingfisher going about the layout. There'll be some other trains running about in the background as well. So thanks very much for watching. Leave me any comments you have about what I've done to the fiddle yard, what you think of this model, and any suggestions as to how to fix it. Subscribe to the channel if you've not done so already. Like and share the video, and I'll get another video up sometime soon with some more building work, hopefully, if it stops raining outside and I can get some wood cut. So yeah, thanks very much for watching. Speak to you again soon.